Welcome to Culture Wire. I'm Meg Schiffler. On this episode of Culture Wire, we're taking a trip to San Francisco International Airport and into the history of the San Francisco Arts Festival. And Director of Cultural Affairs Louise Cancel will visit North Beach to see a new public art project that lights up the night.
By creating a work that is very different from many angles, it kind of encourages the investigation of the area.
The San Francisco Arts Commission manages over 3,000 works of art in the city's civic art collection. Some of them are pretty well known. Lotta's Fountain on Market Street, Union Square's Admiral Dewey Monument, and the Bronze Buddha in Golden Gate Park. Many pieces in the public art collection aren't seen as often, though. They're smaller works of art that include paintings, jewelry, and sculpture that represent the Bay Area's artistic style and history. Between 1946 and 1986, the San Francisco Arts Festival was an annual showcase for an incredible variety of arts and crafts. And each year, crowds would gather to see and buy the latest creations by Bay Area artists. Most often located in the plaza across the street from City Hall, the festival demonstrated the Arts Commission's efforts to encourage, highlight, and provide opportunities for local artists. 70 works of art from the arts festivals were selected for exhibition at the San Francisco International Airport for a show entitled The Art of a City: The History of the San Francisco Arts Festival.
Well, the Arts Festival, they were held in San Francisco between 1946 and 1986. Originally conceived as a collaboration between Bay Area artists and the Arts Commission in response to the limited amount of local museums and galleries that were available to artists at the time. Over the years of the Arts Festival, the city used budgeted monies from the general fund to purchase jury-selected artwork by participating artists. We had a number of what was determined to be very significant pieces by mid-century Bay Area jewelers, and we were looking for an exhibition venue for those, and we realized that they were part of a larger picture of the Arts Festival traditions. The Art of the City, the history of the San Francisco Arts Festivals began as a collaboration with the San Francisco Airport Museums and the Arts Commission staff. The two agencies had never really collaborated on any kind of themed exhibition. So when the opportunity arose, we thought it would be a great chance to explore the overlapping histories of the Arts Festival and the regional artistic identities that it encouraged. The event really became a significant forum for the exchange of kind of aesthetic ideas and material practices, material techniques. Jewelers such as Peter Maccarini and Mary Rank, Margaret DePata, and influential potters such as Antonio Prieto. Much of what's being exhibited here at the airport has not been on public display for over 20 years. This is the first time they've been exhibited in their entirety. Probably one of my favorite pieces in the collection is the Robert Arneson's Jugs on Jugs from 1960. And to me, what's interesting about it, one, it's just visually arresting, but it also really illustrates a kind of a transitional period in the artist's career where he's moving away from functional forms towards more kind of wry, tongue-in-cheek sensibilities that came to define his career later in life.
Jugs on Jugs in particular represents an interesting transition by the artist from functional pottery into more whimsical forms, and one of several important works by artists who became very prominent later in their careers. Other pieces by Viola Fry, Bruce Beasley, Win Ing. The objects for exhibition were chosen to present the range of artists, mediums, of everything that was produced for the Arts Festival. These all represent purchase awards for their respective genres, whether they be ceramics or prints, paintings, metalwork, jewelry. San Francisco has a very rich legacy of modernist jewelers. The Metal Arts Guild, which was founded here by a lot of these artists, Mary Rank and Margaret DePata and and Peter Macchiarini. These were amazing pioneers in their field and produced a number of pieces in this exhibition that were just remarkable, really bold use of materials, techniques for assembly, the finishing. Mary Rank, her jewelry in this exhibition is just marvelous. She takes a very constructivist approach, a lot of interlocking forms rather than solder, and just very beautiful, thoughtful work, beautiful contrasting surfaces, the use of different metals. This is all very current. I mean, the arts, we're very fortunate to live in an area where the arts are so vibrant and supported, and that many of the artists who are still alive that are represented in this exhibition are still working. Their students are working, colleagues are working. So it is interesting that, and many of them are connected. These communities are very close knit. The platter by Antonio Prieto is remarkable. The treatment of the surface, decorative treatment of the surface, and he's such an interesting artist to learn more about because he seems to have come in contact with just about every ceramicist in this exhibition. Taught for I think more than 2 decades at Mills College, which is a real hub for ceramics. So this isn't the past. The festival may have been the past, but the art certainly continues, and the innovation. Charles Surendorf was one of the first organizers of the exhibition, the San Francisco Arts Festival, and worked with what was called a battleship linoleum and would freeze it so that he could use steel engraving tools instead of the traditional wood engraving tools to make his prints. So his prints are very richly detailed, very expressionistic, just wonderful. It's just a pleasure to be able to learn about these subjects, give them the proper treatment, hopefully educate the traveling public and the airport community about a wide range of topics, everything from anthropology to pop culture to delving in fine arts here. It is a pleasure.
The Art of a City is currently on display in the pre-security area of the airport's international terminal. That means you don't need an airline ticket for a trip to see some great art. For more information about the Art of a City, visit sfoarts.org, where you can also learn about other exhibitions currently on display at the airport. Although the Arts Festival is now in the past, public art continues to be added to the city's art collection every year. One of the newest pieces is The Language of the Birds, an installation of 23 books flying across the busiest corner of North Beach. Director of Cultural Affairs Louise Cancel interviewed artist Brian Goggin about the process of collaboration and capturing the feel of a neighborhood.
This work, which is sitting on the intersection of 2 major neighborhoods, meaning Chinatown and North Beach, really was an interesting inspirational source for you, wasn't it?
Well, when I work and when I worked with Dorka Keene to come up with an idea, I looked to the site as inspired by a tradition known as land art, where we look to the environment where we're going to create a piece and find elements in that environment to create something that grows from that, so it feels rooted to the site and yet may bring out new beautiful flourishes.
Now, The Language of the Birds is, in essence, 22 books that are suspended in the air in the middle of this intersection. You actually drew upon about 90 different authors, right?
We looked to the history of literature in this area, which is a primary cultural kind of icon, as I see it, in San Francisco. And after we've had a chance to meet with a lot of the people in the neighborhood, we were able to get suggestions, and we came up with 90, and we took scans from all of these books.
We'll see the words embedded in the concrete.
Yeah, in addition to some recent additions by some local poets.
Exactly. Now, one of the also interesting and unique things about The Language of the Birds is the fact that it's sort of carbon neutral, right? I mean, it was designed with some engineers that allow for solar energy to be generated during the day, and then at night that same equivalent of energy is used by the piece. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a solar array on City Lights Bookstore which collects more energy than we actually use for the piece.
Why don't we walk across the street and take a closer look at this work?
Sure.
The inspiration for getting the books sort of to be suspended and lit at night, how did that come about?
After about 2 weeks of trying to put together a lot of the ideas of the signs, of the poetry, of the music, of the history, of the art, of the movement, and of the architecture and the materials of the signs that already were around here, they all kind of came together in this vision of a form of books illuminated. So taking on the role of the flickering lights, and then also of the pigeons and the parrots that are flying in the air, but then also the metaphor of ideas taking flight and flying through the air, and like ideas of consciousness drifting from one person to another through language.
Now, the origins of this work really are quite pedestrian, and no pun intended. I mean, the idea was that the Department of Traffic wanted to eliminate a right turn from, Columbus onto Broadway, right? And I know that project started like several years ago, and so you and Dorca had to work collaboratively for that period of time. What was that collaboration like?
Dorca and I were in the studio every day making the books. We came up with a piece with many different elements. There are hundreds of words, and there are 23 books. And then there are about 48 cables. And so how do you bring all that together into one cohesive whole? So a lot of that was enabled through this collaboration and challenging us. Sometimes we were inspiring each other, and sometimes we were very critical of the other person's ideas, but what it did was it really honed the work.
One of the interesting things about the language of the birds that makes it unique, I think, in the collection of San Francisco public art, is that this is the one work, public art work, that is the most closely related to performance art. I'll never forget the dedication performance.
Well, we wanted to have a surprise not only for you guys, but also for ourselves. What we ended up doing was we sewed little veils onto each of the book forms so that they had a pattern that resembled the fortune cookie. And then members of the marching band were climbing up these ladders with bamboo poles and then pulling on those leashes so that the veils were removed.
The work's been up for a couple of months now, and what has been your sort of experience has it met your expectations?
It has. People who are walking in the area will be focused on the ground and often not see what's going on up above them. And they'll come across some of the text on the plaza. And then as they're observing the text, they'll start piecing together their own little lyrical poems that are commingling the kind of fingerprints from the literary past into their own unique poetic experience. And then looking up. I was hoping that there would be a kind of heightened level of consciousness invited in with this piece. And so I think that by creating a work that is very different from many angles, it kind of encourages the investigation of the area. And so through investigating the area, you're locating yourself in space. You're not only seeing the work, but you're seeing the context of the work.
Well, Brian, San Francisco really prides itself in its collection of public art, and you and Dorca have really contributed a very unique work that's really multi-layered and very rich, and we really thank you for giving this gift to present and future generations.
Thank you, Luis. I've really enjoyed working with you guys as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a real honor.
Brian and Dorca recommend visiting the language of the birds at dusk, so you can experience the shifting light and the changing energy of the neighborhood. And here's a tip. dusk is the perfect time to take photographs of this fantastic installation. To learn more about Brian Goggin's work, visit metaform.org. And at Dorca's website, keenonart.com, you can listen to streaming audio of her conversations with other regional artists. On the next episode of Culture Wire, we'll profile a very special sound experience that's being installed inside of the rotunda of City Hall. You don't have to wait until our next episode to experience great art in San Francisco, though. The Art of Change has just opened on the ground floor of City Hall. The show features rock posters and photographs from Wolfgang's Vault, a local archive of rock memorabilia housing music promoter Bill Graham's extensive archive. The exhibition focuses on how the music industry has influenced social change in the past 5 decades. The Art of Change can be seen weekdays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. through April 3rd. On Sunday, January 25th, the Arts Commission is sponsoring a free comic workshop at the Cartoon Art Museum. Brianna Miller and Tien Pham will be demonstrating silk screening during the afternoon. And don't forget this place called Poetry, the Writers' Corps exhibition happening here in the Arts Commission Gallery at 401 Van Ness. The show is free, but you need to hurry. This place called Poetry ends January 24th. The gallery will then close for 3 weeks to prepare for our next exhibition, Impossible, featuring video and photography by 8 Chinese artists. To find out more about these events and others, go to sfartscommission.org. You can send us your arts events listings or tell us what you'd like to see on future shows by emailing us at culturewire@sfgov.org. Thank you for watching Culture Wire on SFGTV.